Hello and welcome to another video from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Today I'm joined by Neale to discuss the latest injury and team news from this week's press conferences. Neale, welcome. How are you?
I'm not too bad, yeah. As well as can be expected after last week's horror show anyway with the Salah sale, but we'll not mention that.
Yeah, no. So for those that don't know, you sold Salah ahead of his greatest game week in living memory. But we will move on. We'll move on from that because Liverpool have quite a tough fixture actually, and we'll come to Liverpool's team news in a minute. But I think we want to start off with Man City first because we could be seeing one of their big stars returning. So yeah, what's the latest from Pep ahead of Man City's game with Everton?
Yeah, and uncharacteristically helpful Pep Guardiola this morning. But this is categorical as you get from Guardiola. He says Aguero's got no pain after his injury. He's been working with the squad the last two training sessions, and they've got another one this afternoon at 4:00. So that's when they're going to make a decision on whether he's going to be involved. It does sound quite promising. The fact that he's been involved and Guardiola made a point of saying he hasn't got any pain. So I'd expect to see him in the squad, even if it's not starting. I think we might see him in and around that 18-man squad tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, and now there's been a few other injuries as well. What about, say, for example, De Bruyne? Could he be back even?
He could, yeah. This has been dragging on for a couple of weeks. This is his second injury of the season. He's been on the cusp for a couple of weeks, but Guardiola said it was pretty much the same situation as Aguero, that he's been training as well. He's got no pain, and again they're going to assess him after this afternoon's final training session before the early kick-off tomorrow against Everton.
And John Stones as well had a injury midweek. Is he looks like he's recovered or possibly out?
Well, there wasn't any specific mention of him. He was asked by journalists by name if he was going to be all right, but Guardiola just said there was treatment on the woken wounded yesterday, training today, and then again they're just going to assess anybody who's a slight doubt ahead of tomorrow.
Now, also just on kind of lineup news, we're always looking out for rotation as well. Midweek, Sané and Sterling both not only started but played 90 minutes with Mahrez there on the bench. What do we think? Do we think that once again both will start, or do we think that Mahrez might get a run out? And if so, who makes way?
Yeah, I've yet to write the team news for Man City yet, but I'm leaning towards a rest for Sané, purely going off how many games he's played already in December. So he started the last 4. And Mahrez was the one rested in midweek. Now, the sort of caveat to that is that Man City have got a Carabao Cup game next Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it is. So he could decide to flog Sané for one more game and then make the changes in midweek in the Carabao Cup match. I expect to see the likes of Phil Foden feature in that game. I'm probably going to stick with my prediction of Mahrez and Sterling starting, but that's just my interpretation.
No, well, as a Sané owner, I'm going to ignore that and hope that your other
what do I know?
Your other view is that no, who knows? But we find out on the Breakfast Club video that we'll be streaming as that team news will be coming in. So I could be a bit upset during that. Well, let's move on to Liverpool. Another injury there at the back in defence. What's the latest and who could possibly be out?
Yeah, they've got some real problems. So we know that Joe Gomez and Joel Matip are definitely going to be out. Gomez has got a lower leg fracture, and Matip picked up a fractured collarbone, I think it was, in the dying minutes of the game against Napoli. Alexander-Arnold, who people have probably seen by now, has been widely ruled out by media.
Yeah.
He wasn't categorically ruled as unavailable by Klopp this morning, but it does sound like he's not going to feature against Manchester United. His quote was, for Trent, it's day by day, and it's not as serious as the other two boys.
Okay.
But he was talking in terms of Nathaniel Klein's availability. He's now fit after a couple of weeks out. And he said he's got other options. As we saw Milner play there last weekend, a right back. So I'd suspect Alexander-Arnold won't feature, but it doesn't sound like a serious problem anyway. He might return.
That's quite frustrating for owners as well.
Yeah.
because I would say I think it's pretty certain he's not going to be playing this weekend. But thereafter, obviously if he's missing another 1 or 2 matches, owners might be thinking, well, time to move on. But we're not getting that as well, so we might be getting a bit vague over Christmas, really. So, slightly nervous times ahead over Christmas for.
I think particularly when we've got a ready-made, not replacement, it's not like for like, but Lovren, who looks like he's going to get a lot of game time over the next 3 or 4 weeks, with Gomez and Matip being out. Now he's available for 4.9 million, so you could even move to him if you were certain that Alexander-Arnold's going to be out for a length of time, but we're not. We don't know that for sure.
And Lovren as well is an absolute beast with the bonus points.
He is, well.
So he's a player I have got my eye on if I wanted to double up with Robertson. But good shout there. More injuries at Chelsea as well. They're travelling to Brighton, my team. What's the latest there from Sarri?
Yeah, this was one that happened last night against in the Europa League tie against Vidi. Morata's picked up a knee injury. He sustained just before half time and was taken off. Now, Sarri says it doesn't look very serious. We'll not probably get an update again today because the fact that it was the Europa League last night, Sarri gives a very brief press conference after that and then won't do so again today. So he's just a doubt at this stage rather than definitely ruled out. Well, that could be good news for Giroud, who's the only real bona fide centre forward left. Or Hazard, who played as the sort of false 9 last weekend against City. Now, whether that's a good thing or not for his owners, because in the past we've done analysis of how his goal threat kind of diminishes when he's playing as a spearhead of the attack. And again, last weekend he did get 2 assists. We didn't have a single shot on goal. Yes, it was City. You'd expect them to have more possession. But we'll monitor that over the coming days to see how long Morata's going to be out for, if at all. And then that could impact on people's decisions regarding Hazard, because he's apart from Giroud, he's the only real option to play up top over Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, my inclination is that the fielding of Hazard for the game against Man City was quite a deliberate ploy there, and I think against Brighton, no disrespect to my team, but they're a lesser team than Man City, and I think he'll probably go for a more established centre forward there. I think that would be more useful for him. But something to watch there. Over at Arsenal now, another team in the Europa League, and Lacazette owners won't have liked the team sheet in the Europa League. A whole bunch of B teamers went out, those recovering from injuries, and there was Lacazette there. So we thought he'd recovered from his injury. Is there any hope for Lacazette owners that he will actually start this weekend?
There's always hope. This was a bit of a shock because even the peripheral players who featured, you wouldn't expect them to re-enter the thinking for Sunday. I mean, sort of Özil's just come back from injury. You can understand why he got the run out. There's only 2 players who started against Huddersfield who then went on to play last night. The other of which was Socrates, who was suspended this weekend. So again, you can understand why he was played. Lacazette, that is a worry. Pro is that he was subbed on 63 minutes, I think, and he had scored. And Emery made a point of saying after the game that it was just we need to get him into some sort of rhythm. Just because he played today doesn't mean he's not going to play on Sunday. But that does possibly put even more doubt in your mind. He was hooked at half time last weekend, and I can understand why people are getting twitchy around Lacazette and thinking about moving him on after only 1 game week. But it does sort of bode well for Aubameyang. You'd think he's got more of a chance.
I would say Aubameyang owners can be very happy, I would say. Lacazette, it's a nervous way. Although, what do you say? I mean, it does make sense about the rhythm. He has been out for a while, getting some games, really. I mean, it was one of the lesser teams in the Europa League is playing against as well. So, it's hardly taxing.
I think he only had 18 touches last night, which is fewer than anybody in the Arsenal team. So he wouldn't have been fatigued by that.
No.
Actually, one other thing I should say on that is Koscielny came back in that game. He made his first start. Now you'd think they'd manage his recovery very gently after the sort of the size of his injury, but they're really short of centre backs. Socrates will be suspended, Mustafi will be suspended, Mavropanos still isn't ready, and Holden's out for the season. So they've only really got Koscielny, Monreal, and Lichtsteiner. as the centre half options. He's been playing a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-1-2 in recent weeks, so we might see a move back to a 4-2-3-1 this weekend if he decides that a back three of Lichtsteiner, Koscielny, Monreal is not the way to go. So that might actually be good for Lacazette in that he would be the the obvious option for the front role with Aubameyang on the left. But it could be the case that Aubameyang plays centrally after the goals he scored in recent weeks.
And of course Özil's back as well, so
he is.
He is an option as a kind of a number 10 type.
Ramsey possibly as well,
Ramsey as well. So options there, but once again presents doubts to owners. Now another player that surprisingly missed out, we caught us by surprise really, was Wilson at Bournemouth. A hell of a lot of people had transferred him in only to see that he was sidelined. Any hope for his owners, particularly his new owners, particularly with a very good fixture, I think, against Wolves, potential there for him?
Yeah, Wolves haven't kept a clean sheet in, I think, the last 8 game weeks, something like that. Yeah, Bournemouth's press hours this morning and how sounded quite positive on Wilson. He's always a bit cagey, anyhow. He doesn't ever really rule somebody out unless they're categorically injured, such as Adam Smith or Lewis Cook. But he said he's recovered well. He's hoping that he's going to be able to play. But with it being a hamstring injury, they're going to be careful with him. But he's been pictured in training, and it does look pretty good. I think they saw last weekend that they missed him quite a bit against Liverpool. So, yeah, it sounds fairly positive. And even if he doesn't start this weekend, he's going to be back for game week 18. So, yeah, positive news on Wilson anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, slightly uncertain this weekend, but I think if I own Wilson, I would definitely be keeping hold. That does sound quite promising. Elsewhere, just putting the fixtures back up on the screen here. Any other kind of key news that we should be aware of? Yeah,
not much happening today, but yesterday was quite interesting. We had Pochettino's presser. He talked about his injury list. Now, Spurs always issue a bulletin before Pochettino's presser, so it rounds up the injuries in rather grand terms, or Trippier's on some sort of preventative course. But Pochettino gave his press conference afterwards and said that Trippier, one fight, Davinson Sanchez and Serge Aurier all got a possibility of featuring against Burnley. Now we don't know if it's Burnley at home. You think they wouldn't take any risks, especially with someone like Trippier who's got that ongoing groin problem, which he's had since the summer. So yeah, Kyle Walker-Peters might get a stay of execution at right back, but it sounds like those 4 are very close to recovery. Lucas Perez is a doubt for West Ham, so you might see Andy Carroll up front, the old favourite.
Wow, against Fulham, that would be a good fixture for him.
It would, yeah. That's especially with Fulham's defensive record.
Nice championship level fixture for Andy Carroll.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he does actually if he performs well, especially with Arnautovic being out. Could be a cheeky little differential over Christmas. Vardy's back with Leicester. He should be available for that game, but Chilwell's out with a pain in his knee. And just looking elsewhere, Aaron Moy's out for till 2019. He'd probably miss the Asian Games as well. And Federico Fernandez missing for Newcastle. These are all minor injury worries. And finally, I'm not sure if you still got this guy, Goodmanson. Have you still got him?
No, I haven't. No, I jettisoned him. An upgrade to Sane.
That is an upgrade, yeah. But, he's touch and go. You'll be delighted.
Is he? Yeah. It's a shame though. I will always have a soft spot for him. Thanks so much for that, Neil. We've had some definite news, which is good, and a few troublesome, iffy type news that may worry some owners there, particularly I suppose Wilson and Lacazette and Trent Alexander-Arnold owners. But for now, thanks so much for that, Neil, and good luck with the game week.
And see you. Yeah, goodbye.